If you listen to Silicon Valley executives, your job is already on the chopping block. The media is saturated with warnings that artificial intelligence is positioned to wipe out white-collar work, driving massive anxiety across the labor market. Major corporations are publicly leaning into this narrative. Tech and finance giants have frozen human hiring, issuing press releases boasting that their new AI chatbots are successfully doing the work of hundreds of human employees. Look past those press releases, and a completely different reality emerges. Behind closed doors, executives are realizing that delegating complex workflows to algorithms is causing widespread operational failures. Recent labor data reveals the quiet backtrack. Roughly 2/3 of the employers who aggressively laid off their staff to implement AI are already posting job listings to rehire for those exact same roles. The corporate attempt to fully automate the workforce is catastrophically backfiring. Stripping human intuition out of the workflow has caused output quality to plummet, making an experienced human mind more valuable today than it was before the AI boom. The cracks in the system are obvious in retail. Fast food chains spent millions rolling out automated drive-thrus, only to quietly scrap them after the AI started adding hundreds of dollars of chicken nuggets to single orders. A ruined lunch order is highly visible, but when companies force this exact same technology to write corporate software or manage databases, the mistakes are hidden deep in the architecture, making them incredibly expensive to fix. Generative AI models are statistical engines. They guess the most probable next word based on training data without actual logic. This generates the slop layer, code that appears functional but is structurally broken underneath, forcing developers to spend 20% more time untangling errors. AI is not completing the work. It operates as a rapid generator of sophisticated messes, leaving highly paid human professionals to act as digital janitors cleaning up the fallout. This dynamic has triggered the junior death spiral. Looking to save money, companies have slashed entry-level hiring by roughly 20%, operating under the assumption that a language model can handle all the beginner tasks. By refusing to train entry-level workers today, companies are aggressively destroying their own talent pipelines. In 5 years, they will have a severe shortage of the senior architects they desperately need to maintain these systems. To hide these functional limits from investors, executives use a tactic called AI washing. They boast about deploying fully autonomous AI systems while secretly relying on vast networks of underpaid human contractors to do the work. We saw this with autonomous retail stores. The public was promised a system where machine vision tracked every purchase flawlessly. The reality involved thousands of offshored workers sitting at monitors, manually reviewing the video feeds to tally up your receipt. Mass AI layoffs are frequently an executive smokescreen. Blaming automation is a highly effective way for management to appease Wall Street, aggressively cut costs, and hide their own poor financial planning. Beyond the technical failures and the corporate cover-ups, automation hits a hard philosophical wall. You cannot hold a computer legally accountable for its actions. We are seeing the consequences of this vacuum in high-stakes environments. AI programs have generated entirely fabricated citations for lawyers in federal court and misdirected surgeons regarding the exact location of their medical instruments. Relying on these tools invites cognitive surrender. Human managers stop exercising their own independent judgment and blindly trust the output of an unthinking black box until the entire operation collapses. Early computing pioneers understood this boundary perfectly. A 1979 IBM training manual laid out a strict rule. Because a computer can never be held accountable, it must never be allowed to make a management decision. When a $1 million system fails, you cannot sue a neural network. You cannot fire an algorithm. The legal liability and ownership that a human being provides is the ultimate irreplaceable corporate asset. Look at the sheer brute force required to sustain artificial intelligence. Processing a basic prompt requires megawatt data centers packed with hardware, consuming enough electricity and water to sustain a small city. Compare that to biological engineering. Your brain continuously processes millions of sensory inputs, calculates complex physics on the fly, and physically rewires its own synaptic connections up to 10 times every single second. The human brain achieves this supreme adaptability, running on roughly 20 watts of power. The corporate market is entering the trough of disillusionment. The initial hype is burning off, forcing businesses to accept that they must reinvest in human judgment to survive. Human work is shifting, not vanishing. Tech executives will continue to sell the narrative that human labor is obsolete, but the future belongs entirely to the architects who know how to manage, correct, and outthink the machine.